Marisa. Thank you for having me. Violence against women is one of the many crises of capitalism. Acts of misogyny and sexist bigotry plague our communities and our families. During this time of social distancing and quarantine associated with COVID-19, rates of domestic violence and violence against women have spiked nationwide. However, it is the evils of capitalism, not a pandemic, that is the cause of this violence. Sexist violence is not caused by a virus. Oppression, patriarchal power structures, and heterosexism are created and maintained through the capitalist mode of production. Crises of capitalism disproportionately impact the groups that are already super oppressed by the system, including women, members of the LGBTQIA+ community, oppressed nationalities and immigrants, as well as those experiencing poverty and housing insecurity. These crises illuminate the complete lack of infrastructure, resources, and meaningful response from the capitalist ruling class to provide for people's needs. I see these harsh realities in my community every day as a social worker and an organizer. Domestic violence and violence against women are a vestige of women's historic status as property. It is a symptom of their continued subordinate status in society today. Global capitalism, far from solving the historic inequality of women, has incorporated violence against women into its business practices and its imperialist military strategies. Capitalism breeds and feeds off of the sexism, misogyny, and repressive violence that are endemic worldwide. The ruling class have made minimal progress in addressing this very real and very critical issue. Millions of women continue to suffer at the hands of both capitalism and its product, sexist violence. The toxic culture that not only permits but encourages the continued oppression of women as a class. We working class women know this reality all too well, as we are overwhelmingly the targets of harassment, assault, and abuse. Rates of domestic violence and sexual violence always spike in times of crisis and instability. In the 2008 financial and housing crisis, domestic violence reports skyrocketed as unemployment, evictions, and economic destitution reigned. Economic instability and stress is one of the single most dangerous risk factors for women experiencing abuse. Moreover, already insufficient social services for victims and their families are stretched way beyond their breaking point during a time of crisis. In fact, while the ruling class was more than willing to provide trillions of dollars to bail out Wall Street and large corporations in 2008, budgets for social services and public benefits are continuously slashed. According to the National Network to End Domestic Violence, on just one day in 2019, 11,336 requests for help from domestic violence victims across the country went unmet due to a lack of resources. Nearly 70% of those unmet requests were for either housing or shelter. The Lariva Peltier presidential campaign and the Party for Socialism and Liberation has made the call that as many housing units as needed should be provided for victims of domestic violence. Housing is a human right. Rates of domestic violence fell into quote-unquote acceptable levels for capitalism after the 2008 crisis, and the same may be true after COVID-19 and its coupled recession. However, sexism and all other forms of oppression can never be fully eradicated under capitalism. Meaningfully addressing violence against women means organizing and fighting for a system that is not built on their oppression. The system is sexist. The fight back has begun. Join us this Saturday, May 30th, for a nationwide car caravan protest to demand the full cancellation of all rents and mortgages. Thank you.